I'm your review guide, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison of the TCL 6 series and NanoCell 85 series. And if at any point you want to go check out these TVs for yourself, I put Amazon links down below for the US, UK, and Canada, but let's get into this comparison. Now, both of these are 4K TVs with 4K upscaling, and across all sizes, they're pretty much the same price. However, the NanoCell 85 series is an IPS LED panel, while the TCL 6 series is a VA QLED panel. But now let's get into these different categories. So the first category is the brightness. Now, the TCL 6 series has the LG beat by a landslide. So the LG has a peak brightness of 550 nits, and the TCL series has a peak brightness in some settings of over 1,000. Now, across the board, the more nits of brightness that a TV can produce, the better it is at displaying HDR content. So the HDR content viewing experience on the TCL is a fair bit better than the NanoCell 85 series. So more brightness, the better it is at displaying HDR content. So in this category, the win has to go to the TCL. Now let's move into black level. So the TCL really pulls ahead on this one as well. On the NanoCell 85 series, some of the blacks is perceived as a little bit of like a dark gray. You don't get the deep blacks as you would on the TCL 6 series. This is noticed quite a bit when you're viewing content that the setting is in the dark. So gaming, especially if you're in a dark alleyway or just a dark setting in general, the blacks are gonna look more gray on the LG in comparison to the TCL. So in terms of how dark the blacks are, the TCL wins this category. Now, the next category is contrast, and this has a lot to do with the type of panels the TVs have. So the TCL 6 series pulls ahead yet again because it is a VA panel. Now, usually VA panels have better contrast ratios than IPS panels, so it's kind of expected that the NanoCell will fall a little bit short of the TCL. Now, that being said, for what the NanoCell is, since it is an IPS panel, the contrast ratios are actually good for that panel. So the colors are going to be quite more vivid and contrasted on the TCL, but again, that is because it is a VA panel. So another point goes to the TCL. Now the next category is viewing angles and reflections. So this is where the NanoCell actually starts to pull ahead. By far, the NanoCell has much wider viewing angles than the TCL 6 series, and that again is because of the panel type. IPS has better viewing angles than VA. So basically what I mean by this is the NanoCell would perform better in rooms with a lot of ambient lighting like a window, as well as wide seating areas. The TCL cannot compete with the NanoCell in terms of viewing angles. If you're going to watch the TCL from a side viewing angle, it's going to look a little washed out. Now that being said, because of the brightness of the TCL, it does combat glare just because it simply overpowers it. But that being said, the NanoCell does combat glare a little bit better than the TCL. So the TCL was close to the NanoCell in terms of combating glare, but in terms of viewing angles, the NanoCell has beat. So I'm going to give both of these points to the NanoCell. Now let's move into future-proofing and HDMI 2.1. So the NanoCell has a beat again, kind of. So the NanoCell has HDMI 2.1, so that means it can display 4K content at 120 Hz. Now, the TCL does not have HDMI 2.1, but the native refresh rate is still 120 Hz, so it can do 1440p at 120 Hz, just not 4K at 120 Hz. So in terms of future-proofing for the next-gen consoles like the Xbox Series X and PS5, the LG NanoCell has it beat if you want 4K at 120 Hz. Now, with that being said, let's move into the full gaming experience of each of these TVs. Let's start off with the LG. It does have AMD FreeSync Premium, which is a type of variable refresh rate which aims to eliminate screen tearing in game. It also has HGig, extremely low input lag, and decent response time. Now, the TCL 6 series has a THX certified game mode, a variable refresh rate, low input lag, and low response time. So, in terms of those features, they are very similar in game experience. The most noticeable difference in game for these TVs are the black levels and response time. As I mentioned before, the TCL 6 series has deeper black levels, so the blacks are going to actually look black when the NanoCell blacks look kind of like a dark gray. So if you game a lot in dark settings like me when I play Warzone, you're gonna notice this. It's not gonna be as deep of blacks, and it's gonna look a little washed out kind of on the NanoCell. But that is only if you are in very dark settings. Now, in terms of response time, the TCL pulls ahead again, and response time is the time it takes for pixels to change different colors. So this comes into play if you're in a dark setting and a bomb goes off, switching from a dark to bright. With all of that being said, they both have clear and vivid pictures. I just prefer the gaming experience on the TCL 6 series a little bit better, but if HDMI 2.1 is important to you, that's where the NanoCell has it. Now, the next category is operating systems and remotes. So the TCL 6 series operates off of Roku, and the remote is a very minimalistic design. It basically only has a power button, navigation, pause, play, voice control, and some extra buttons like Netflix and Disney+. And then the LG has their own operating system called WebOS, and they have the Magic Remote, which has the channel buttons as well as navigation buttons, some customizable buttons, as well as inputs. There's a lot of buttons. As you can tell from my description of the two, I like Roku better because of its minimalistic design and how easy it is to navigate. That being said, it is a personal preference. I like designated homepage. LG kind of clumps their homepage at the bottom line of the screen, which I don't like because it kind of feels like they're just cramming everything at the bottom to make it look clean, but then it's kind of, you have to scroll through it. I just personally don't like it. I like having designated homepage with Roku to name my inputs and just have everything on one screen. Now, the next category is one that really surprised me, the bass sound system. The LG won on this one. I don't expect much out of TV speakers. I mean, you get it and you're just like, yeah, it's a TV speaker. It's not going to be great with audio quality. But the LG really surpassed my expectations, especially when in surround sound mode. Now, I was very surprised with how it mimicked surround sound with just the TV speakers. Again, it's not a high quality audio system, but I wouldn't mind not getting a soundbar if I didn't have the money to spend on it. It is a very enjoyable listening experience. Now, that being said, the TCL, it's not an awful speaker, and I don't feel the need to buy a soundbar or sound system for it either. I enjoy it just enough by itself, but the LG just has better bass, treble, mid-levels than the TCL, and just creates a more full sound in general. So the LG takes the point in bass sound system. Now, the next category is build quality. Both of these TVs are built pretty sturdy. Now, the most notable difference that I saw was that the TCL is much heavier than the NanoCell 85 series. So when it's on the stand, it doesn't wobble as much as the LG. Now, that being said, they're both built nice. I just prefer the look and brushed aluminum of the TCL in comparison to the LG, which again is personal preference. They both are built really nicely, and they both have really thin bezels around the side, which gives it a really modern and new look. But in my opinion, the TCL takes it, so there's another point for the TCL. Now, let's talk about the sizes. So the LG NanoCell comes in a 49-inch, 55, 65, and 75, while the TCL 6 series only comes in 3, a 55, a 65, and a 75. So the NanoCell has a little bit more range in sizes, and also all of these TVs can be base mounted, but in terms of the amount of sizes you get to choose from, LG takes the cake on that one. But again, if you do want to check out either of these TVs, I have Amazon links down below in the description. I really hope this video helped you out. Both of these TVs are great for different purposes, and I really hope this video helped you decide between the two. If it did, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button or that subscribe button. But I was your review guide, and I'll see you in the next video.